Hey there, welcome to my kitchen. You know, during non-pandemic times, my wife and I have friends over for dinner at least a couple times a week. And when that happens, usually our friends sit on these stools. I open up some wine like I'm doing right now. We all talk about everything. We talk about food. We hang out. We have a great time. I miss that. So if you'd oblige, I'm hoping that you'll be my guest for tonight, and we can kind of chat as I cook. I'll even pour you a glass of wine. Here you go. This one's for you. And of course one for myself. So here's what I'm making. I'm going to make a pasta with a few things, a few beautiful seasonal ingredients that I bought just 2 days ago at the Sunday Farmers Market. It's a green garlic pasta with bacon and pea tendrils. So we're going to start by salting the boiling water, salting it generously, more salt than you think there should be in the water. And now I'm going to add the pasta. And spaghetti pasta like this takes about 10 minutes, and it's my goal to have dinner ready, or at least the pasta ready to toss by the time it's done. So I need to have everything else in order. So I'm going to start with some bacon. I got some beautiful, super thick cut, this is 2 slices, bacon. And to begin with, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the pan, just to help the bacon render. And it's thick bacon already, and I'm going to slice it thickly. All right. So bacon down. So green garlic. What is green garlic? Green garlic is actually, it's immature garlic. So at the beginning of the season, after it's started to grow, it'll come out of the ground and it looks a little bit like a green onion. And then the bulb starts to get fatter and fatter and fatter. And when I go to the farmer's market, the first week that it's available, it's like this little green onion. The next week, it's a bit fatter. And then it gets to the point where it's like this. The bulb is starting to fatten. And then the next week it's like this, and then like this. And then at a certain point, the farmers stop selling green garlic. They wait till it's fully mature, they dry it, and then you get a bulb like this, obviously, that is essentially this, that's just grown a little bigger, and then it's been pulled out of the ground and dried. But right now, green garlic is amazing because it's, here, I'll show you what it looks like. This way. So if we cut straight through here, you can just start to see the cloves forming, but they're not fully formed. And the smell, it definitely smells like garlic, but it's a lot milder. And that's why it's great to use in a pasta. Or you can use it in all sorts of things, really. But it's fun to have an ingredient that you can only get for a really short time, and that really you don't see in grocery stores. This is really only something you'll find at a farmer's market. Now I'm cutting as far as I can down the stem. You can, from a zero waste perspective, you can keep going. You just want to pull off the sort of outer, tougher layers. But this all the way up is still pretty great. All right, so the bacon is it's starting to cook, and you can see at the same time it's kind of starting to render. So I'm getting some of that bacon fat, which I'm going to use to cook the green garlic in. The pasta stir. Give the chef a sip. So this bacon is at the point where it's almost fully cooked, but not totally cooked. So this is the time that I can add the green garlic to the pan, and also some chili flakes. And I just want to be careful. I don't want to let the garlic overcook and get acrid. I don't want the chili flakes to brown and sort of get burned. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. Take a look at this now. You can see that the garlic's softening up. Just breaking that apart. You can see the bacon is now fully cooked. I've got a little bit of bacon fat at the bottom here, and that's what I want. I mean, it's not too much. I don't need to add any more oil. That's pretty great. I'm going to add some white wine in a second, and we're going to turn this into a beautiful sauce. The age-old question is, what kind of white wine should you use when you're cooking? Well, the answer is whatever you've got in your refrigerator. Even if a recipe says dry white wine or fruity white wine or whatever, just use what you have. And if you don't have anything in the fridge, then just add a splash of what you're drinking. You have to be careful because this is alcohol, of course. Wine is alcohol, and it is going to flame up. And if you're cooking over a gas stove, as I am, when you put any kind of alcohol in a pan, it starts to splatter. And if it splatters, the splatters will go over the side, the flames will catch it, and before you're ready for the flames to start, before you're ready to ignite it, they'll just ignite themselves. So you got to stand back, be really careful. Adding maybe like a quarter cup. Oh yeah, that's the money shot right there. There we go. And you can see what's happening here. The white wine is deglazing the pan, so it's picking up all those beautiful brown bits from the bottom, and it's already starting to reduce, which is what we want it to do, because we don't want our pasta to be swimming in a pool of white wine. And I think we are pretty close. We are. We're right there. I have one more ingredient to add. These are pea tendrils. Now, pea tendrils are pea leaves off the pea plant, and that right there is the actual tendril itself. It tastes exactly like a spring pea. It's delicious. So I don't want this to overcook. I'm just going to put it in right now for like a couple of seconds until I add the pasta. There we go. My pasta is cooked. Give it a bit of a toss. This little trick that I'm going to show you is the biggest, most important trick in the world of making pasta. And that is to add the starchy pasta water to the pan, and a generous amount of it. So by adding this pasta water, what I'm doing is I'm basically creating a sauce from everything that's happening here in the pan. So the bacon fat, the white wine, the original olive oil that I put in here is all combining with this starchy pasta water. Ultimately, you want to swaddle the pasta with this lovely thick sauce. And it's a little bit of trial and error. When you ask yourself, should you add one more splash of water or not to the pan, just remember that as you're walking the plate to the table, the pasta is still absorbing the sauce. One other thing that's going to thicken the sauce slightly is Parmesan, because I'm going to grate some Parmesan Reggiano. And then instead of just putting it on top of the pasta, I'm going to put about half of it in the pan. And that is going to marry with the sauce that I've created and thicken it even a little more, to the point where I might want to just add a bit of water. So just take a look at this here. You can see, that the pasta is completely coated in the sauce. You've got a bit of sauce down here. That's just enough. And look at the viscosity of that, the thickness from everything that was going on in the pan. The wine, the bacon fat, the oil, the starchiness from the pasta water. It's tasting pretty good. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt, a generous pinch of pepper. Give it a toss. Last trick, I want to warm my plates. Take a little bit of pasta water. Normally I'd just let this sit down for a minute. I'm going to take some pasta. Wrap it around a ladle. some of this glorious sauce with some of the extra pea tendrils. Just a hit of Parmesan. Damn. The white wine, the starchy pasta water pulls it all together, creates this luscious sauce. Pandemic or no pandemic, that's a fine bowl of pasta. And I so wish you were here to share it with me. But in your absence, I will enjoy it on your behalf. And I really appreciate you hanging out with me and making me feel like it's the good old days all over again.